Do you like Blade Runner? Do you like Fahrenheit 451? Do you like what's that Tom Cruise movie with Nicole Kidman? Eyes Wide Shut. If you do, you're gonna love this one. This one is a sci-fi dystopia called La Mécanique. I'm Frederic Guimont, and this is Bande Déssinées for Stupid Muricans number 4, covering La Mécanique, Tome 1, En moi le chaos, in me the chaos, scenario by Kevin Stevens, dessin couleur, drawings and colors by Jeff, and the dialogue is between a mix of both the artist and the writer. Let's get into it. So we have here some thanks to Soleil, the publisher here, and they do an interesting mention that the album was drawn and colored by hand in a traditional manner, plus digital touch-ups, but no artificial intelligence was used. So this is the first time I see a mention specifying no AI in a bande dessinée. So that's of note. What's the date on this? It doesn't say here, does it? I don't think we got a date in front. Maybe in the back. We'll have a look see it later. We got like this long intro. I won't dive into this much, but we are thrown right into the story in sort of a like intensity at the beginning. This is very dystopia. Very, if you love these cyberpunk, aesthetic, Blade Runner, you're gonna really love this one. You got the mayor, who's also the father of this daughter, who's kind of one of the main characters here. We follow her story mostly throughout this album, though she's not the cover character. So the cover character we'll see in the very last pages, interestingly enough. And it's hard to follow exactly what the story is, I'll be honest. A lot of it is left to interpretation and kind of a mystery. So some things are kind of left intentionally ambiguous, but we see that the father's kind of like in a difficult situation with his daughter. He's trying to control the world, control the city, not the world, but the city. He's the mayor of the city, and she calls him out, saying he's become sort of a monster. She has this brother, her brother. I don't know if he's biological brother. At one point, he says, "You're like a sister to me," and she's like, "You are my brother." It's confusing. A lot of things are a bit ambiguous, but the story still flows pretty well, and it's just an absolute beauty to follow along. And we really feel the oppression coming on. There's a lot of spicy scenes in this one. I'll be honest with you, straight from the get-go. If you like it, if you like that, you're going to get a few shots in here. I'm going to have to skip one pretty quickly because it does get really spicy. Uh, we see this character here who's a musician who's got to hide his guitar. Like his guitar is broken up into multiple pieces because you can't just be a musician in this world. We'll see later on that books and music are outlawed, and he's on drugs. Drugs are a big part of the story, as a lot of dystopias. He's got these little bulbs here in the bag, and he kind of sniffs one of them, and they're called what are they called? Blast. So the drug is actually called Blast. He's got 2 shots here, and he's heading out for a job that we'll see. And we see the mayor's daughter with her brother, and she's kind of taking care of him, reassuring him. And the mayor here's looking at her at his daughter's boyfriend or lover, keeping an eye on through an old-fashioned rifle with a futuristic scope on it, which is an interesting match. And we see the girl's lover going in through a sort of he's taken a what are these called? These flotation boats thing that hydro sorry, my vocabulary gets fucked up when I switch from English to French all the time. But he's got to go through some sort of border control. Can't have much of anything when can't have drugs, can't have alcohol when you cross the border. So he's going on a mission in another part of the city, another location. And we see some another character here, and another interesting character who's sort of a police officer or the equivalent, because they mention in this scene that they're not actually cops. He takes a pill here. We don't know exactly what it is. His coworker is like, "Hey, you want a donut?" And he's kind of laughing it off. What is this? You think we're in America here? Besides, where do you get donuts? And he's like, "Well, my wife made it." It's like, "No, you don't have a wife. My mother." Is like, quick lying. It's like making some sort of compulsive liar who's brought donuts to his buddy. Uh, Sort of like to reaffirm a cliche that isn't really a thing in Europe. So they got their flying cars. They're going. They themselves have a mission to go on as well. And then we cut to back to the mayor. Mayor is tasking these two women to go do another mission. A lot of things happening, setting up for action later in the book. And the mayor recognizes the vehicle of his daughter's lover, and he's like, "No, we won't go after him now. Maybe later." And we see the pseudo cops are kind of ramming in the door of an old fella here who's got tons of books in his house. And we learn later that books are highly illegal, very Fahrenheit 451. If you're familiar with that book, Ray Bradbury. So the penalty is death, and it's instantaneous. They inject him with some sort of substance that turns him into mush right before their eyes. It's pretty horrific, pretty pretty intense. And so these guys were not on the mission with the other cops. They're kind of the cleanup crew coming in afterwards. And they find this book by Jules Verne's Voyage Extraordinaire, Extraordinary Voyages or Trips, Adventures. And the black cop here, the black partner, is grabbing the virtual reality headset from the guy who was just killed, and he's makes a couple of notes, and his boss says, "Give it to me, I want to see." And he notices the blue-haired girl from earlier on the screen, grabs the headset, and we see the dog leaving with her on the headset screen. And as they leave, an explosion breaks out, destroying the last of the remnants of the book collection. And then we see a beautiful cityscape, incredible amount of cars. Reminds me of Star Wars, the prequels, where you see so many fantastic cars. Little advertisements in there. They've got energy drinks that are based off of grasshoppers, and we see in the town hall, we see a sort of meeting between. We've got the Robo Mafia, ex special forces for games and combats, and we got a like biomechanic transformation expert and triad manager, which is funny. And we got a shot of the blast capsules as well. And so they're bringing in some criminals and forcing them to take some of I think these are like low quality imitation drugs, and forces the substance on one of the criminals, and he just dies a horrific death, hidden here by my name down there. And his partner just makes a run for it, and yet we see him crashing through the window right here, which kind of makes me think, like, how fragile are these windows? Wouldn't they be like reinforced or something? But no. They go on with their meeting, negotiating territories. I won't bore you with all these details here, but we come back to the brother and a shot with the musician, and that's when we see where he's going on his mission. Beautiful cars, backgrounds are incredible. We see him coming in, and he's getting surgery on his finger. So something with the finger of note, probably a sensor to gain access later on through either fingerprint emulation or a key or something. And back with our main character here, blue-haired girl, who's still watching over her brother, who's kind of like got mental deficiency. a little bit retarded or a bit slow here. And she's going on her hover bike, and sees the man here. And yeah, back to the coppers coming in, and he's got a meeting with the mayor, and he's kind of the mayor's inviting him for a drink and a game, and he's kind of saying to himself, "Well, that's it. There goes my paycheck. I'm going to lose it to the mayor by playing cards during our meeting." And back to the blue-haired girl who's using her finger to access a secret location that seems to be within the sewers, but we see it's just an underground kind of bar here, and she's playing DJ. And we see the first sighting of the girl with short brown hair and a mechanical arm, which is obviously the girl from the cover. But little is mentioned of her besides that. We're just left with the mystery a lot. And finally, we get to our the character's mission. I'm going to have to go through these pages pretty quickly because they are a little bit spicy. But we see him put his guitar together. So music is punishable by death, as we mentioned earlier. So this couple is apparently indulging in some, well, some sex, let's say, erotic. But the musician is paid to come and play for them while they indulge. And I'm going to skip this one really quick for obvious reasons. We got some just beautiful shots of the world that are kind of non sequitur, just to give you some mood while he's playing the music. And we see the lovers are done. They're both wearing masks to keep their identity. This is very, eyes wide shut part of it. And he's paid in some like eight-sided dice, it seems. But these little cube or prisms here serve as money in this case. And he's off. He's completed his mission, and he's going back home and emulating the forest on the screen, looking for some peace. And we follow him going to the restaurant, grabbing some food. And this is where we see for the first time he's got some sort of power or something. His eyes turn absolute yellow. And it affects this girl in the background who he has no contact with, apparent, other than that. But her eyes turn yellow, and she just goes in for a kick on her friend here. So totally out of control, out of the blue. And she later explains here that she doesn't know what went over her. This guy's buying some more blast drugs over the counter, looking for the quality. And the salesman assures him this is top quality. And we got a RoboCop here flying in, sort of drone, police drone, that's that just caught them doing an illegal act. And the little boy says, "You better run because they're going to come pick up their toy." So he's taken down the drone, giving time for our character here, our musician, to make a run for it. And these two girls are kind of accosting him when he's going into the subway here, the metro, asking if he'll take them to see a fight. And back with the blue-haired girl in her relationship with her father, the mayor. The mayor goes in for a massage. This is one of the most grossest scenes you'll see. I think it's pretty self-evident what's happening here. I won't go into great detail. And we're back with the blue-haired girl. The DJ is coming back. And she's going to another part of the city, apparently for a dubious meetup of some sort. And some criminals are trying to catch her to accusing her of reselling some of the drugs, maybe. But he gets quickly decapitated, and she's got a lot of protection being the mayor's daughter. I think there's some watchful eyes over her, and they escape on these speeder bikes. And yeah, she sees her brother on the screen. Something's got her worried. And then we're at the OFC. We're at the fight, and we see it's humans versus robots is the type of fight they've got. So this sort of modern UFC with androids versus human. It's very sci-fi, and our musician here is enjoying with the two girls here who of art. Their eyes are slowly turning yellow as well. So whatever influence he has seems to be taking over their minds here. And the blue hair girl is on a mission. She's running quickly, probably to go save her brother or something. Like I say, a lot of the motivations can seem ambiguous through the first reading of this book. Uh, some thieves want to stop her and steal her money, but she just starts blasting away. And we see what was announced as the feds doing a crackdown during the fight. So the feds who are not usually involved in these things, are coming down hard, and they've got an army of federal agents, and they're doing a big crackdown. And the musician is getting caught up in this, and I think she see like her heart breaks seeing him with other women here. I think this is what's happening, and see the cleanup cop, as I don't know what else to call him. He's in the background here, and she's finding a pirate elevator. These are what these are. So you've got these illegal elevators that kind of reach to the surface. Not everyone has access to the surface, which takes us to the end. We got the musician here. I think this is a flashback scene with his lover, and different lover. He's got, again, the eyes turning yellow. This is a shot I've shared online. You might recognize it. They've got advertisements like reiterating that books and music are instant death penalty. And here she is, blue-haired girl, is looking for her brother. Soup kitchen man is absolutely disgusted. Like, we don't deal with retards here, and she's like calling him idiotic. And as his restaurant is blown up, so perhaps she just blew up his restaurants because he was an impolite. It's pretty strange. A lot of intensity, and you got these quiet moments as well. Beautiful vehicles, reminiscent of old 70s cars, fast cars, and almost like Star Wars jet bikes at the same time. And we're nearing the end here. We got a meetup of so this hat-wearing girl. She's pulling something from her bag or from her belt, which is a whistle. So she's launching an alert, and instantly, I think these are the feds. She gets shot up and dies on site. Cleanup cop is coming in after that, and he's on a trail of this mayor's daughter. We got another very raunchy, steamy scene with our musician is playing again a gig. So these degenerates are having an eyes wide shut kind of moment with the blindfolded musician. Uh, and but something's happening. He gets blindfolded here, and it's his old lover, Isabel. And then we got the cops coming in closer to a blue-haired girl, and they spot this girl that was shot up. And his partner says, look at the neck to see if there's a tattoo of a triangle. That's the important thing. And he says, what happens if there's 3 triangles? He says, I hope you're joking, because that would mean the whole city is going to get blown up. So don't know what the detail behind that is, but something incredibly important about her triple triangle tattoo. And then cut back to the musician with the girl on the cover, who is Isabel, with her mechanical arm. And she says, you have to find out who did this to me, the cutting off the hand, because that's the only way that you will find me again, which seems mysterious. Is it a metaphor? Is it literal? It's very kind of a poetic sci-fi Blade Runner-esque story. Ends on this city shot, very reminiscent of the abundant amounts of spaceships and flying cars in the sky in the city that we see on Coruscant in the prequels. But that's it. We don't even see the credits of the dates. Oh, here it is in the very back. Édition Soleil, so Soleil from Kevin Stevens and Jeff. What's the date on here? So January 2025, so very recent of this year. which makes sense why there's a mention of the AI. It was printed in December 2024. So there you have it in France from Soleil Edition. I hope you enjoyed this short overview of La Mécanique. This has been Bande Dessinée for Stupid Americans, where I review a French bande dessinée every Saturday for my American friends to try to keep them up to date on what's happening in the European market for comic books, because a lot of good stuff, reminiscent of what we see in the indie space in America, is kind of happening over there. We all know what's happening with the manga world and the comic book space. It's very present on the YouTubes, but not the European market. So hopefully you appreciate that. If you do, give it a like, leave a comment, and tell me what you'd like to see, what kind of books you'd like to see in the future for me to review. So thank you very much for watching to the end. I'll see you